ambition, it's never been lacking. Hey guys, and welcome to my F1 Manager series, in which I'm taking Minardi to be the best team around in F1, so Minardi to win the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. Points, podiums, wins, 1-2s, even track lap records. Finally though, in 2001, my third year with the team, we hit the big goal. Championships, both the drivers and constructors. What a rise to glory Minardi has had. So, 2002 rolled on without me on board at Minardi. Mika Hakkinen, the reigning world champion, took a sabbatical after winning the Drivers' Championship, much like he did in 1999, and our former driver Damon Hill retired from the sport. After I left Minardi though, Paul Stoddart took complete control of the team. The financial situation was much worse than I ever realised, and so Paul Stoddart made a number of radical sweeping changes. 2002 was nothing like I envisioned it for Minardi, as it saw the driver pairing of rookie Mark Webber and pay driver Alex Young. Paul Stoddart's first race in charge of Minardi saw Webber score a points finish with 5th place at his and Stoddart's home race, just ahead of a former Minardi great Mika Salo in 6th, whose Formula 1 career was luckily still alive. 5th place though, not an amazing result considering where we were in 2001, but phenomenal considering the team's position now.
Yeah, it is a responsibility, but I think what we've proved here today, and indeed this week, people know we had such short time to get here, we didn't do any testing, and I think we've won respect up and down the pit lane, and that means a lot to me and also to the guys. And yeah, we've been adopted as Australia's Formula 1 team, so that's fantastic. It's good for Formula 1 and it's definitely good for Australia.
2002 moved on though, quiet and very fruitless for Minardi. 2003 though saw an unbelievable result for Minardi, as Jos Verstappen was the fastest guy in Magny Cours. Shame it was during Friday qualifying and meant absolutely nothing. 2004 was again fruitless and near pointless, as our old arch rivals Ferrari were now on top of the sport, and with good old Michael Schumacher winning yet another title in just as dominant of a fashion as he did back in 2000. 2005, the end of Minardi. Paul Stoddart had run out of time and run out of money, so after 41 offers, he accepted one from our former sponsor, Red Bull, to turn it into their B team. Hardly a noble end to a once glorious team.
Well, Red Bull have confirmed a deal with Minardi to purchase the team, which guarantees its future in Formula 1. It will operate independently from Red Bull Racing.
What about the staff down at the Minardi factory in Faenza? Is the intention to keep the team down there?
Yes, I mean that's the plan certainly at the moment, and it makes a great deal of sense to do that.
Is this the end of an era as far as the privateer teams are concerned?
I think so, sadly. I mean, it's going to be, I know what it's been. I know the pain over the last 5 years. I mean, watch out for the book. It'll be a good one, and it'll tell it as it was. And basically, it's not something that I could think someone's going to do again. We've seen Peter Sauber sell, we've seen Eddie Jordan sell, now you've seen me sell. Sadly, I think Formula 1 is moving into a new era.
At least the crazy 2005 American Grand Prix gave Minardi and Jordan, our old and now also broken and sold off rival, one last hurrah in Formula 1. Not to mention Fernando Alonso. After I rejected and discredited him in 2001, he certainly proved he was worthy of that 2001 Minardi after winning the driver's title in 2005 and 2006. 2008 then saw a win for Toro Rosso, not to say many Minardi fans cared, as most of the DNA for Minardi had been completely wiped. 2009 and Luca Padoa finally joined Ferrari as their stand-in race driver, 7 years after I last wanted him in a Minardi. Unfortunately, with him being incredibly slow and even racking up fines for speeding in the pit lane, nobody saw him for the true great I know he is.
I was hoping a little bit better, but that more or less was the range. We were expecting by this because with 1 year no driving and a new track, what was possible to do? This was the range that we were expecting.
But there's a perfect example. You know, Luca Badoer was never a World Championship potential driver 10 years ago, so he clearly hasn't got any quicker, but it's making it really difficult for him just coming in cold like that.
Marc Genet went on to test for BMW, Williams and Ferrari. A reasonable end to another valiant and half-decent Minardi driver who was there for us when we were still struggling at the back of the grid. Whilst the plucky Minardi is no longer in Formula 1 now, its passionate and highly spirited echo still carries on. Luca Badoer.
The most important thing is remember to brake on the end of the stride, because the speed is very high, and you know, Formula 1 is not a real car. I think is a airplane with the wheels.
Marc Genet.
Let's see if my right foot is better than the TC. For sure, for 1 lap you can do as quick as the TC.
Damon Hill, Mika Salo, Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard all carry the legacy of Minardi with them. Not to mention our former test drivers Gaston Mazzacane and Owain Green. They had a very thankless role and unfortunately after I left faded into obscurity. What about Ross Brawn, who went on to dominate with Ferrari and then his own team after leaving us? And Stefano Domenicali, who left Minardi, but in that typical Minardi style, got the biggest name in Formula 1 and took it to its knees. Not to mention all the people back in Faenza, the real driving force for Minardi. They carry the sole remaining Minardi asset in Formula 1, even if it is now for an energy drinks brand. And on that note, the pluckiest team in the sport, which went from being a one-man team for a year, to champions of the world, to on its knees begging for a buyer, all in only 20 glorious years, fades out from the conscience of the greatest motorsport in the world.